And welcome back to the Breakfast Show on Business Day Television. Now, this is a social listener segment on the Breakfast Show. I am Destiny Momoh, and with me here is
Onyeka Valentine.
Onyeka Valentine.
I think you're wondering why I said so.
Of course. Now, very quickly, let's move straight to our topics for the social listening this morning, making the rounds on social media. Now, it says that former Deputy Speaker Idris Wase is making headlines after cautioning that the federal government police withdrawal from VIPs could worsen kidnappings across the country, and Wase shared his concerns during a security debate at the House of Representatives, saying the directive needs clearer rules to avoid putting key officials at risk. He said the intention behind President Tinubu is good, but criminals may now use the loophole to target more politicians, especially in the north where threats from bandits are already high. He also pointed out cases where Boko Haram suspects were found on military and police recruitment lists, calling the security situation too delicate for rushed decisions. Before we see tweets to this effect, wow, this is a bit, I don't understand. I can see that there's some things that ought not to be there, like recruiting, like on the list, they find Boko Haram members on that list. To what end?
Well, first and foremost, I will say this very quickly. When you have found the wind of war, and so it has now begin to to affect you, and so you now look for loopholes to begin to cry foul. I totally disagree with him when he says that removing police officers will give room for bandits to attack some VIPs or some people. My question is that, what is it that you're running away from? If you're very innocent, what do you need security for?
Sure.
I understand that, yes, bandits don't just target those who are of influence, they target everybody. We understand this.
Yeah.
But now we have an impending issue.
So what's the major concern?
You get me now in front of us now. So,
Exactly.
so the truth of the matter is this, is that, you see, when people tell you that politics has its misgivings, these are one of the triggers that we see.
Sure.
Why? The man who is our president, CSC, is making some strong moves to curb insecurity, to fight, criminals.
Exactly.
And he's saying, look, I need my police officers to be at strategic points, not just following VIPs, blowing sirens, and then carrying a gas bag
and all of
madam's
that,
handbag. They don't want
exactly,
that.
running on errands unnecessary.
So now we see people, other politicians come out to now say, oh, this might
To
create room
increase
for
insecurity.
Is
it the insecurity that we do not have presently?
So my question now is, if he's now saying to create insecurity, is it that we don't have NSCDC any longer? We have them. He has given you options to try those.
So why is it now looking down on the NSCDC? Do they not have good training to this effect?
The truth of the matter is that politics.
But in the Western world,
so,
we do not have
so politics and politicians don't seem to understand, some of them, not all, don't seem to understand that when it comes to lives and property, keep your differences aside. I'm sure if you dig deep, you realize that this person probably is not an APC person, maybe a PDP person. So they're looking for different ways to weigh in. And once they weigh in, they begin to sabotage the move that is about to make. I'm not an APC person, rather am I a PDP person, not a politician. Our job as broadcasters is to look at what our viewers want to ask.
And feel the pulse of the people
so the question
and voice.
What we're asking is that, why do they want to frustrate Mr. President's move?
Exactly.
Leave that aside. If
he has started to make a right step towards the right direction, and there's a drawback.
There's a drawback. Why the drawback?
Oh my God. And then we just see tweets to this effect. Now, before we go on the tweets, I'm sure there was something you were saying about, actually trying to bring down, what the president is trying to do. Now, if it continues like this effort that the president is trying to bring here, more opposition will be coming just because of the selfish reasons, as to why things like this should not happen.
That's my point.
It's actually very, very, very degrading if you ask me that, somebody in power will be saying something like that. The tweet from Ifeanyi Chukwu says that tackle the insecurity and stop being afraid. What is the hope of an average Nigerian that cannot afford VIP's security? Now, this is on point. And Sarah Benson said, are there no private security companies in the country? Why must they feel entitled to the little security personnel that aren't even enough for the populace? If they want security, they should pay from their pockets. Of course, security is expensive because that's what happens in the Western world.
So they have, like the other person rightly said, we do have private security.
Exactly.
Who are
They're
registered,
there,
who are registered with the police force.
True.
Police force has an inventory of these people.
Exactly.
And so if you now say, oh, I want security, the police force will ask you, have you gone to personal security? You have.
Exactly.
The personal ones you now confirm, are they registered with police force? Do we know them? Good and fine. Go and hire, pay. You're a VIP now.
Exactly. And then Dr. Ladowski said, now this is the only way this country can work. Take out the comfortability from them, and you will begin to see action and resolutions on solving the actual problem. Adebayo 3719 says that security should be for all, not just VIPs. If we treated every citizen equally, we would have a culture of collective security. Rich or poor, we all deserve protection. Wow. That's like hitting the nail on the head. We all deserve this protection. We see people dying in the north. We see a lot of things happening, and then we're just here getting used to a situation that is not supposed to be gotten used to just like that. And then here is someone complaining that insecurity will be much or kidnapping will be much if that is done. And we do not have much of this personnel, if you ask me.
Well, again, thank God we're looking at recruiting more people. But however, more personnel. But however, having said this, what should come to mind should be, as the president is making moves to be able to mitigate the problems that we have by making sure he, detaches police officers who are attached with VIPs so we can use them for community policing. Let's also look at those who might want to frustrate his efforts and bring them to book. Like this man who said this thing.
Very fast.
Yes, this man has said this thing. Begin to ask yourself a question. What is it for him? What is his motive? They all have an MO. Exactly. An MO can never ever be, you can never hide. Once there is a move towards, because this is a natural, we are faced with a serious.
No, he just succeeded in even speaking for the others.
Yes, we are faced with a serious national
insecurity issue.
And so any other thing should be irrelevant.
It should be irrelevant.
First and foremost, number one agenda, make sure Nigeria and Nigerians are secure first. Then VIPs, if you want security, go and hire private security agents.
You all on the tweets. Now, moving to the second, topic on making the rounds on the social media, says that in Niger State, a heartbreaking incident has thrown the community into deeper grief. A father, Anthony Mosa, has died from a heart attack after his 3 children were abducted from St. Mary's Catholic School in Pakmiri village. The chairman of a Khan in the northern region, Reverend John Hayab, confirmed the tragedy and saying the man couldn't cope with the shock of the kidnapping. Another parent, a woman, has also died, though the cause is still unclear. The Khan chairman in Niger State, Most Reverend Bulus Dawa Yohana, said families are living in fear while the remaining abducted children are still missing. And security agencies have been urged to speed up rescue operations as the community struggles with trauma. Before we see tweets, I want to remind us that this is a very sad one here. Imagine that this never happened. This man and this woman will still be alive, taking care of their children. The pain of losing a parent, it's so sad. And these are young children.
Right. So, again, we cannot divorce the fact that heartbreak is not real. It is real.
Sad.
Having said so, I will basically tell all Nigerians, really, that's all of us in general, that you see, hard times don't last.
Hard people do.
Exactly. And like I've always said before, look, again, our condolences goes to the family of the
So
the
much
person who couldn't
condolence.
take the family, the person who couldn't take it, and
Beauty will
pass
come from
on,
these ashes.
you know. But for what it's worth, right? These are hard times. We will come out of it.
True.
And you want to call it pep talk, good and fine. But let's be rest assured that the only way things can work is if we work as one.
You've just said it.
Right? Which is why I want to say this next thing. Can we, as we are looking at, as Mr. President, as we are looking at getting more personnel into the army, into the military, looking at moving police officers from VIPs to some certain areas, can we also add gadgets to that? Can we look at cameras?
Exactly.
Can we look at real-time cameras?
You just said it all. Camera.
Yeah, such a way that, look, at every major junction, right? Deploy those cameras such a way that at the end of the day, even if you don't catch them in the act, at least you have a lead.
There are a lot of sophisticated cameras now that can help them do this job. They cannot do it. They cannot have eyes everywhere, you know, and that's why the Western world take advantage of this camera effect, and it's making the difference. It's making the difference, trust me. And they're using very good satellites. We also need these good satellites that will give them the signals of where to catch and make it easy.
And just to add to that,
yeah.
Again, why do we have satellite images? Now, we might not. I'm talking about internationally.
True.
We can partner with these people. Look, give us real-time shots. We are in a crossroad right now with banditry and terrorism.
True.
So give us real-time shots, right? You want to help us, international world, help us by making sure that we don't lack visuals.
The equipment that we need.
And to also help to let us be able to have such equality based on information sharing.
Sure.
This is the only way our security personnel can act well. It's not by juju, like they say.
Exactly. So let the tweets start rolling in now. You know, it's so unfortunate when we see things like this that we cannot really, you know, say, okay, this is it. Okay, now from Ocean Deali says that, and guess what? The persons representing him at the National Assembly are discussing how to attend a dinner banquet organized by Remi Tinubu. Whoa, his claims I do not know. But then O.C. Oreto says that people don't know how terrible this is. Kidnapping toddlers is the worst a parent can face in this life. Now, you will feel so useless imagining how your baby who survives on special meal can cope 24 hours outside home. And this is supposed to be government's top priority, yet nothing. And then from Femi Eluaka says, as usual, the victims and their families suffer while the terrorists negotiate with Tinubu. Vicious cycle.
So we want to let's debunk that very quickly, because not everyone who sends a message via social media we should be to entertain and not react responsibly. So it is we saying, look, you want to call it, some will say allegedly, but that's separate now, right? That kind of tweet is quite, you know, it could be derogatory. Let's be honest. He says negotiate with Tinubu. We don't have such information to say he's negotiating with terrorists, right? So we disagree with that particular, message, so that it doesn't come to be that we don't give our facts right. Let's be honest. It might not be a human being behind that tweet. It could be someone who's trying to run propaganda.
Exactly.
You know, so.
Well, you already know these things, and then whichever way is possible, let's see what Samuel Victor says. And how can Nigeria be the reason a man dies before his time? How does a country push a father into the grave? Not by bullets, not by sickness, not by fear, but by fear, anguish, and helplessness over his own children. No parent should die simply because the government failed to do its most basic duty to protect life. And also, I think that's about the tweets that we have on this particular issue. And I must say that the tweets here have been able to either, speak the minds of Nigerians and maybe counter the others. And I'm moving on, says that football star Victor Osimhen has revealed a painful detail about his life after the 2021 facial injury that nearly ended his career. He said he can only chew on the right side of his mouth because of the metal plates and screws permanently fixed into the left side of his face. The injury happened during a clash of heads in a league match, leaving him with multiple fractures around his jaw and eye. And after surgery that inserted 18 screws, the left side never fully recovered. He still wears his protective marks for confidence and safety on the pitch. And he also explained that the damage makes it impossible to chew on the left side, which also affects how he eats and his facial comfort every day. Before we see tweets to this effect, I must say that this guy has gone through a lot. You know, having a face where you know that it's not just bones, it's not just the flesh and blood, and I don't know. I just don't know how he's able to
carry on.
Yes, to carry on. It's been such a challenging time for him.
So So every work has its own,
challenges.
Its own challenge. It comes with its own risk, as the case may be. He is in a sport that is a contact sport, and when you are in the contact sport business, there's a huge tendency that your injury, expectation might be high.
Wow.
So, having said so, right? He's raking in the big checks.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know that.
Again, this is not me. I'm not trying to be insensitive, but I'm saying, the hazard with the job comes with big paychecks. Like you're saying that someone who is the bodyguard to Putin or those key persons.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
What I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I agree with you. But the situation at hand requires that we just understand from where he's coming from. Yes, he has a big paycheck to actually, help the situation. But don't forget that money cannot do it all.
So, not necessarily help the situation. I mean to say that
money cannot do it all, my brother.
No, hold on. What I'm trying to say is that the fact that he's making money, right, that alone is a soft cushion to say, at least this injury has happened, but I'm being compensated well.
Yeah.
It could have been bad or worse if with all these injuries and exactly the money he's making is not worth it.
Go for me, check.
Which is why I said, at the end of the day, uneasy lies the hair that wears the crown. Let's be honest. To whom much is given, much is expected.
All right.
But we wish that he gets to recover, if at all, eventually. But the thing is this: what we're not seeing is that let's hope that this doesn't affect his, performance on the pitch moving forward.
Because that's what we're talking about health here, and then you're talking about money. I was trying to, bring that out a bit to say that he cannot really cover for that. But let's see tweets to this effect. He's actually suffering. Now from Mr. Vitalis said that Osimhen deserves nothing but respect. His transparency reminds us that athletes are human too, wishing him a smooth and speedy recovery. And from a Smartech 2050 says Osimhen's resilience is different. Not many will keep going under this kind of pain.
Very true.
Oh my God. And from a Favorchino Somi says, wow, that's crazy. I actually thought the mask was for fashion. You see, a lot of people do not even know the reason behind the mask. And from Smartech 2050 again said that Victor is playing through a level of discomfort most people can't imagine. Massive respect. Oh, wow. Well, they've just been able to hit the nail on the head because it's more like an emotional thing right now. You can imagine the pain he's going through. Just a little pain on any part of your face or any part of your body. You know how far, the extent that goes, the discomfort that brings. And then you have to be running with so much strength on that pitch, with so much burden on your face.
So what this means really now, in trying to analyze this for income, for implementing two things. One, as much as, we are seeing the injury that we're talking about the injury that he's going through, there's a flip side to it. Those who run, paying pharmacies, pharmaceuticals, right? This also, we don't know this, but this is also an opportunity for them to actually have him as their brand ambassador.
Okay,
and do something. Business angle I'm coming from.
Yeah, there's a business angle.
Exactly, because you see, the fact that he has that consistent pain, he can't chew properly, right, from his left side of his face, from the left side of his jaw, because it affects him. The nerves, obviously, and that around that.
But if there was no money,
affected. So that's what I'm getting to is that. In everything that happens, there's an opportunity that opens.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
I remember sometime in the past, there was this athlete that had this issue with his knee. Sometimes
The kneecap, right?
Yeah, sometimes in early 20, late 90s.
Okay.
And just when he was, I think he was being relegated to the back,
Yeah.
he got an endorsement,
Oh.
right, from a pharmaceutical company
Yeah.
about painkillers.
Wow.
And that was strange because he was always wearing his kneecap on his, I've forgotten his name now, this knee protective whatever
Okay.
stuff around his knee. And that became a symbol. And before we know what was, I think it was American football. Before we knew what was happening, he became started making money of that area.
Oh, wow.
So not necessarily from the football itself, but the fact that he became an ambassador.
No, but I'm just imagining, those screws. They said about 18 screws on his face, just his face. Is it the right or the left? Now it's just thought provoking.
Well, wish him well.
But then again, the people that did this surgery, we should also give them, kudos for actually, pulling that up, very successfully, and then still keeping him on the pitch, doing his thing. Although the pain here and there, but we must give it to him, is actually a very strong athlete. And we should actually, he should get more encouragement from these things that he's doing, right?
Are you talking about more endorsements for him from the club?
Of course, there are a lot of people, like you said, that want a face for their brand.
So another thing is that what we are not seeing is that there's a big possibility that if some certain crosses are made from his teammates on the pitch, where he actually needs to use his head to headbutt into the net, he might, because of that fear of recurrence, right? Sure. He might affect his performance.
Exactly.
And if the coach sees that, get my point now. If the coach sees that, he might want to say, you know what? Can we move him from the attacker zone to the midfielder?
A lot of accidents happening.
So all this can affect.
It can be avoidable. Like really, it's too much. But although so many times you don't see it coming.
It's a contact sport.
You don't see it coming.
You can't avoid it.
Well, we can go on and on social listening today. Talking about things making the round on the social media. But unfortunately, we have to draw the curtain right here, as this is all we can take on social listening today. We looked at the warning around the police withdrawal and the tragic deaths linked to the Niger School abduction, and also Victor Osimhen's lasting injury impact. I'm Destiny Momoh, and with me was
Onyeka Valentine.
All right, join us same time tomorrow on Business Day Television Breakfast Show. We call it a day. Good morning.